Assalamu alaikum, namaste, hotep, shalom alaikum, peace. This is Tracy Lene Muhammad, and I wanted a very few minutes of your valuable time to talk to you about the need to forgive yourself for whatever it is you've done. When we hurt somebody else, we still have to forgive ourselves for doing it. You should do your best to make amends. I am in no way saying that you should hurt someone and then go, oh, well, I forgive myself, and that's it. And it doesn't work like that. You will still have the consequences of your actions. But if you hold on to what you did, the shame and the guilt, you won't get very far in life, and you will continue to magnetize and draw to yourself situations that don't feel good, and you'll say, well, it's my karma. Well, karma doesn't last always. At some point, you've paid your debt. At some point, you don't owe it anymore. The person may still be in a lot of pain, and prayerfully, they will do the work to forgive you and release themselves from it. Because if somebody hurts me and I don't let it go, it's like I can't move forward with my life. It was the equivalence of me holding the key in the door, or keeping my hand on the lock on the door so you can never open it. Well, you can never open the door, but I can never leave the door to make sure you don't open it. So we have two prisoners. When you forgive someone, you set yourself free. They still have the consequence for their actions. But who I wanted to talk to today is the person who did the offending. You offended someone. You hurt them. You knew what you were doing. You knew you were wrong to do it, but you did it anyway. You have your reasons, and the only person who knows your real reason is you. But you hurt someone. What do you do with that? You have to forgive yourself. And you should never do it again. And you have to accept that there are consequences that come with your actions. And try your best not to allow your ego to go ahead of those consequences. And when somebody says, you hurt me, you start making excuses or gaslighting or deciding you really didn't hurt them or they deserved it. While I do believe that we draw into our life the people that are going to teach us the best lessons to make us become the best versions of ourselves, it doesn't absolve them for participating in the pain that they gave you, and they will have consequences. You can say, well, I don't believe it, and it's true. The Holy Quran says, don't you worry about what Allah has for the offending person. What I have for them, I have for them, and what I have for you, I have for you. Because essentially, you're not perfect. So you've hurt someone. It's like a chain effect. You hurt someone, you get hurt. And when you get hurt, all of a sudden the world should stop and worry about your pain. But did you stop and worry about the pain you caused someone else? And I'm also not saying that because you hurt someone else, you deserve what you got. Whereas I do believe that karma doesn't stop ever, and whatever we do, good or bad, karma is neither negative or positive. Karma is just your actions are yours, and they have to find you, and you have to deal with your actions. So we could say there's good karma and bad karma. I choose to say there's challenging karma and reward karma. So if I hurt someone, and I have in my lifetime hurt someone or more people, and I've asked forgiveness from them, now I can honestly say I don't run around hurting people. I've never been that person. When I've offended people, sometimes it was just my plain old ego getting ahead of myself, and I catch myself, though. I can honestly say I'm not someone that just runs around doing things to people and just not caring about the aftermath. And there are people like that. And perhaps you're that person. Perhaps you're someone who's done some real damage to someone. You've done some real emotional damage to someone. You're going to get the consequences for that. And it may not even come through you. It may come through your children. So you have to be real careful how you treat people. But let's say you've done it now. Well, you have to forgive yourself. And then you can make amends. You can do a lot of things to make amends. If the person doesn't want to talk to you, don't force that. But you can write them a really nice long letter, take it to the ocean, and let it go. You can do something for like a charity. You don't have to put it in their name because that's kind of stalkish, but you can do something with the intent to make amends for what you've done. You're wrong. you're gonna get the consequences anyway, because that's just the way it is. I didn't make the rules. So you'll get the consequences, but you may have mercy. And sometimes I do believe that you are just an instrument being used by the universe to pay back someone for something that they've done. Maybe, I believe in many lifetimes. So I know that what I just dealt with for 15 years was a karmic result of something that happened lifetimes ago. I believe that, not just because I believe it, but I've talked to several people who I know are very spiritually inept to know things, and they've all told me, they don't know each other, but they've all said the same thing. This is karma, this is karma. But I'm on the recovery side of karma now, so I'm not experiencing any of that anymore. And because I didn't even know I did it, because I did it in other lifetimes, doesn't absolve me from it, because the soul is traveling, and that's just the way it is. You could say that it's not fair that the gazelle doesn't get to live if the lion, because the lion wants to eat it, but if the gazelle is fast enough, it can outrun the lion, or if they stick together, many of them can take the lion down. So it may not be fair, but it's life, it's nature, it is what it is. When you've harmed someone and you ask them to forgive you and they don't forgive you, it's not on you anymore. You then need to forgive yourself. But what they've now done is put themselves in prison with you. It's like, you did me wrong, I'm never going to forgive you. Well, then you can't move forward in life. And guarantee you, because you have decided not to forgive that person, it's going to come around. I always feel like I have to make this disclaimer that I'm not talking to victims of incest or rape or murder, because I'm not qualified to talk about that or to tell you how you should feel. I'm not even qualified to tell anybody how to feel. I'm just sharing what comes to me and the things that I've done and what works, because it may work for you and it may not. But when you are the person who's done the wrong, and you ask for forgiveness from that person and they just don't want to forgive you, it's off of you. It's now on them and they have to deal with it. Sometimes people need a little bit more time. But if you don't forgive yourself and you live in guilt and shame, you're going to get a dis-ease in your body, because that guilt and that shame is going to build up, and it's not good for you. So forgive yourself and let it go, and don't do it again. That's what Jesus told the woman at the well. We want to get into religion. Every religion has stories about forgiveness and how it works and how it doesn't work. And in the Bible, the woman at the well, Jesus told her to go and sin no more. You're forgiven. So he wiped her slate clean and just told her to go and sin no more. Does that mean she had absolutely no consequences from it? I don't know, because I wasn't there. What I know is every action has a consequence. Whether you do something amazing or something not so amazing, there's a consequence. Also, because I believe that anything that comes into my life, I attracted it to me to teach me a lesson or to show me where I am on the spiritual path, whether or not I'm getting a gold star for Tracy or need a ruler, pat my arm, my hand with a ruler because I'm being a naughty student. Whatever it is, I drew it into my life, and I've learned to own it, to accept it, and to work through it. I've also learned that just like I have a unique DNA, and what is me is not somebody else. I don't have to believe like somebody else or think like somebody else, but I also don't have to push my beliefs on someone else. I believe that I have the right to think and feel as I want to, as do other people. I told you my new mantra is, I am that which I am, and I allow others to be that which they are. It's been working for me since I've done it. I'm living in a space where not judging people. I have really good sister friends, and they may have a chuckle or two, but I try to make sure that it's not at somebody else's expense, but it's more like just, good old-fashioned funniness of some of the things that we humans do that are just silly. But I don't judge people, because when I judge them, I basically rendered a judgment on myself, because all I can do is speak out of my own experiences. I also try my best not to give people advice. If they ask me how they should do or feel, I say, well, what do you think? And there's no right or wrong. You just need to be honest with yourself, because that's the biggest thing. Learning to be honest with yourself and being authentic. There are women who are okay with being in polygamous relationships. Who am I or you or anyone to call them stupid? They're not stupid if they're okay with it. There are women and men okay with being in what we call open relationships. And we go, oh, she's stupid. She's just saying that she has low self-esteem. You don't know that woman. You don't know what she has. Perhaps that works for her. There are people who prefer to be single their entire lives. And we say, oh, when you get old, you're going to wish you had somebody. We're making, because that's what we feel. I've just learned that people have a right to show up and exist in life in the way that works for them. And as long as they're not harming anybody physically or emotionally, it's their life. They get to do what they want with it, just like you and I get to do what we want with our lives. What helped me get to that point was going through a situation where it wasn't about me, but I took it on as me and I tried to help. And when I tried to help, I really got mocked. And after I got mocked, I got mad because I felt like I was being mocked because I'm trying to help you. This is what you do to me. But really, they didn't owe me anything. They're really broken. And so with their brokenness, they could only continue to hurt me. But when I removed myself from it, not only am I able to see how I contributed to the situation and I'm not a victim, all of the karma that everybody's going to get, they're going to get. And I may not ever see it, but I know one thing, that the universe does not allow you to get away with hurting people and you don't get hurt back. It's yours. Life is a boomerang. What you put out, it comes back to you. It's like we know it, but we don't know it. So like there are times when stuff happens to people in life and we go, oh my God, I cannot believe that really happened. I remember not too long ago, there was an older gentleman that had been murdered. And everybody was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that somebody just murdered this old man. And his daughter came out and talked about how her entire life he was raping her. I don't want to say molest, he was raping her entire life. Well, as soon as I heard that, I said, well, that wasn't no random killing. That was his karma for what he did to her. She can never get back what he took from her all of those years, and then he gets to his old age and dies like a dog. Well, personally, I think he deserved to die like a dog. He can come back and get something better next time, maybe not. That's not me judging him. That is me, well, maybe it is me judging him, because I just think people who molest are scum. It just is what it is. I think when you take something from somebody, a child, you really are scum. And when you rape a woman who didn't want to give her your body, you're just scum. So that maybe that's a judgment, and I'm not saying I'm Buddha. I'm just saying that there are some things, they're deal breakers for me, and that would be a deal breaker for me. Everybody has their deal breakers, and I'm not judging anybody for their deal breaker. I just know mine, and that would be one of mine. But even that person has to forgive themselves. They have to forgive themselves, and whatever the consequences is. See, I'm not the Lord of all the world, so I'm just talking. So they may never get anything for it, and they may, I don't know. Anyway, let me just get off that subject and go back to forgiving yourself and allowing yourself the space to grow from what you did, to learn from it, and to never repeat it again, to accept the consequences of your actions, and to do your best to make amends. It's like the steps of atonement, the 8 steps of atonement. You can Google them so you can learn them, because it's a good thing to have in your toolbox to understand how to atone, how to right your wrong, how to move forward with your life. Well, that's all the time I want to take up, because your time is very valuable and very precious. And if you've listened this far, I'm so grateful. One of the things that you can do to aid in forgiving yourself is to go into meditation, go into your heart space, and take your hands over your heart space and see the little girl or the little boy in you and hug them and tell them that you love them, and all of the things that they did that have hurt, all of the things that was done that have hurt them are now healed, and you want to heal, and then move forward with your beautiful life. There are some things that you can never, or anything you can never change, but there's some things that you can make better by just forgiving yourself and forgiving others. I want to thank you again. Assalamu alaikum, namaste, hotep, shalom alaikum, peace out to Brooklyn and everywhere else.